Canada's express entry system has taken another new direction by introducing its first ever category-based draws for transport workers. Stay tuned as we will discuss how it will benefit newcomers. Hello and welcome to My Consultant, where we give you latest updates about Canada immigration. We are starting today's episode with the demolition of a crossing at Roxham Road, which was used by 100,000 migrants, followed by latest all-program express entry draw, and Canada announcing its first ever category-based draws for newcomers with transport experience. Next, I will disclose new minimum wage rates of Canada's 6 provinces, and Tashina will discuss how a rift between India and Canada led to the suspension of visa services for Canadians. This episode of My Consultant is brought to you by Scotiabank.
The last RCMP building came down earlier this week at Roxham Road, the unofficial border crossing between Canada and the US. The unofficial closing was shut down in late March after the US and Canada closed a long-standing loophole in the 2004 Safe Third Country Agreement. A RCMP sergeant told reporters the temporary structure was designed to last only a few years and was no longer needed since the flow of asylum seekers crossing the border has slowed down dramatically in the recent months. The RCMP will no longer maintain a 24/7 presence at the road, but will continue to patrol the border with their counterparts from the US Customs and Border Protection. The RCMP sergeant acknowledged the change inevitably means more asylum seekers will find new ways to cross, like crossing through wooded areas, and risk the potential of catching hypothermia as the seasons begin to change.
The latest all-program express entry draw was held on 26 September, in which 3,000 candidates received invitations to apply, with a minimum comprehensive ranking system, that is CRS score of 504. This is the second all-program express entry draw of September 2023. The last all-program draw was held on 19 September, in which 3,200 candidates were invited with a minimum CRS score of 531. This year until now, IRCC has conducted total 16 all-program express entry draws.
Following a month-long pause, the IRCC, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada has confirmed the express entry draws has resumed. The last express entry draw before the pause took place on August 15th of this year. Mark Miller, the Minister of the IRCC, announced invitations to the express entry will focus on transport occupations. The IRCC is focusing on transport occupations due to the urgent labor shortage in this sector. This new category-based selection includes commercial truck drivers, aircraft assembly workers, pilots, and more. On September 20th, the IRCC invited 1,000 candidates in transport occupations to apply for permanent residence. The minimum CRS score required to receive an invitation was 435.
Starting October 1st, 6 provinces in Canada are increasing their minimum wage. Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island will raise their regional minimum wage rates starting next month. Ontario's new minimum wage rate will be $16.55 per hour. Manitoba's new minimum wage rate will be $15.30 per hour. Nova Scotia will increase the minimum wage to $15 per hour. Previously, its minimum wage was increased to $14.50 an hour on April 1, 2023 from $13.60 per hour. Saskatchewan will be increasing the minimum wage in province by $1 from $13 to $14 per hour. Newfoundland and Labrador is increasing minimum wage for the second time this year. The new minimum wage will be $15 per hour. Previously, on April 1, 2023, province raised the minimum wage to $14.50 per hour from $13.70 per hour. Minimum wage in Prince Edward Island will increase by 50 cents from $14.50 to $15 per hour. Alberta is the only province left in Canada to increase their minimum wage rates. In fact, Alberta has not increased their minimum wage rates since 2018. British Columbia has the highest minimum wage rate in Canada at $16.75 per hour, effective June 1, 2023, and is expected to further increase by June 1, 2024. The minimum wage is the lowest wage rate set by Canadian provinces. Below this wage rate, businesses cannot hire any employee legally. These minimum wage rates apply to all employers, regardless of their age or a number of hours they have worked for. Paying less than the minimum wage rate is forbidden in Canada. Increasing regional minimum wage rates will help a significant number of recent Canadian newcomers, as it will increase their earning potential and help them establish comfortable lives in their new home.
Uncertainty has rained down on Canadians hoping to travel to India in the near future, following the recent suspension of Indian visa services. India's visa processing centers in Canada suspended services amid the rift between the two countries. This came after Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, suggested that India may have had involvement in the killing of a Canadian Sikh leader. This suspension means Canadian nationals will not be able to apply for a visa or have them processed until the government of India resumes visa services. Canadian citizens or permanent residents will not be able to receive a new visa to travel to India until further notice. The retaliation from India does not affect those with a present valid visa or those with an Indian passport. You are able to travel to India as normal. India's Ministry of External Affairs confirmed the decision to stop all category visas does include e-visas for Canadian citizens. At this time, if you are a Canadian citizen in India and you need an extension on your visa, you will not be able to receive one. But if you already have a valid visa, you are allowed to stay in India or travel back and forth. Indian nationals with a valid visa are allowed to travel to Canada. Canada has not suspended their visa services in India. That's all for this week's episode of My Consultant. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to click the bell icon to subscribe to get notified for our latest episodes and posts. For more information on the topics covered in this week's episode, please visit us at MyConsultant.ca, where you can contact an authorized immigration and citizenship consultant. I'm Tashina Thompson.
I am Tina Batra, and we'll see you next week.